Hey everybody, welcome to Go Get It by Getitlex Motivational Mindset, the podcast. So today we're here with another interview and we're here with Shawn, and I'm so excited because I know he have a lot to say, and I know a lot of you guys will be inspired by his story. Um, so a couple years back, unknowingly, um, I ran into him and he was selling books, and I picked up one of his books and I still have it as to till today. So, um, I want to let you guys hear his story and hear how he came into being an author and a creator. So, Shawn, I know a little bit about you. Today, it's your turn. You got the floor.
So, so I'm a creator. Honestly, that's what I do. I create from storytelling to clothing lines. I'm a workaholic. Honestly, outside of that, I'm just a father, fiance, a son. Trying to not be such a workaholic, but I'm a workaholic. I still work a full-time job. So just I be grinding, man. I be grinding. I'm still chasing that drug money, I guess. But I'm trying to do things the
Listen,
right way now. So I find myself just always hustling, just trying to do it
um,
legit. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's hard sometimes, when you're used to a certain amount of money, money coming in and, getting it, what I'm saying, getting it. So, um, to adjust to real life, it's a big deal. And not only that, I know you've been through some things, you kind of, you came up out the mud. So tell the people how you were able to, you know, get through your rough times and be able to transition into a
Well, I mean, it's always been rough. You know what I mean? I was born in Mosby Court Project. Like it don't really get no rougher than that. And then from Mosby, I ended up going to prison for 10 years. So you know, every so many parts of my life has been a struggle, and I always find myself overcoming struggles, whether it was in the hood or in the prison. Like it's just always been a mountain for me to climb. So when you go through that for the majority part of your life, a mountain is just another mountain. It doesn't even seem like it's that big of a deal anymore.
So, what about the project you think um, took you on a path to not doing things like, you know, the legit way?
Because I mean that's what surrounds you. And for real, I always was trying to figure out, what could I do to get out? How could I get out the hood? But it was just like no money was ever enough. You make a certain amount of money, you just like, well, I got to make some more, and I got to make some more, and before you know it, cops kicking the door in. So, but I always wanted out, and I kind of lost a part of your question. What was the say the question one more time for me?
What about your surroundings? When you was in the projects, that kind of veers you off to.
Yeah. That's just what's going. I mean, as far as hustling, that's what everybody around you doing. So it's like, again, it's like I was talking about the mountain. It's like just it's not a big deal. You think that's natural because growing up in the hood, I rarely left the hood. I rarely saw anything else besides what was going on in the hood. So it was quite natural for me to pick up what everybody else was doing. And then it was a lot of them was good at it. It's flashy. You don't really see the part. The jail cells, and you see people dying. But like I said, that's another mountain. You just get used to it. Sadly. Excuse me. And yeah, it's natural. So much stuff goes on in the hood that just becomes natural to us. And as I get
Yeah,
old, I just realize that stuff not it's not natural. We shouldn't
right.
become so accustomed to those things. Growing up is easy to do so.
So I'm going to talk about when you first um, knew that you were going to be doing um, a sentence. Like, how did that affect you, like your mentality? Like, actually knowing that you was going to be taken off the street for a little
That's crazy because when I first got arrested, my lawyer kept telling me he was gonna beat it. He was gonna beat it. So I actually didn't think I was going to prison because he was like, "Well, the cops had to search you. You wasn't doing anything wrong. They shouldn't have stopped you, and they shouldn't have pat you down." And it was a state case at the time. So most of the people, him and then most of the people around me, told me I was gonna beat it. Then the feds came because I had a gun charge and I had drugs. So back then, if you had gun and drugs, it was federal. So
while.
when the feds came, he was still saying he was gonna beat it. He didn't have a clue. The lawyer didn't know what he was doing in that federal courtroom. I never forget that.
That's
Like
a
he was
whole
like a
different ball
child in
game.
there. Yeah, he was like a little child in
Hmm.
there. He didn't have. I don't even know why he took the case. Once it went federal, he should have just been professional enough to say, "Yo, I can't mess with these people. You're gonna have to go figure out something else. This above me." So I ended up going to trial, which was a mistake. It was supposed to be a lot of preliminary hearings before trial. He had missed out on a lot of those, like as far as motions and you know everything that's pre-trial. All the pre-trial court dates he was supposed to file for, he never did. So I was never supposed to even go to trial because the motion that was going to get me off was called a motion to suppress the evidence.
Hmm.
We didn't even get to do that. So now I can't suppress. We can't suppress the evidence. So I'm going to jail because that was my only fight for them to say, "Yo, they didn't have a right to search you, so this evidence don't exist."
Hmm.
Once he messed that up, I'm going to jail. I don't have a fight. So now I'm in trial, which is basically prosecution present evidence. Nobody could talk on my behalf. I couldn't talk on my behalf. My lawyer was stammering, I'm stuttering. Yeah, he was stammering and didn't have a clue in there. Like he just was. I was like, "What are you doing?" And they found me guilty and put me in cuffs the same day. I had no idea I was going to jail that day. Even if I knew I
Wow.
was going to lose because of the prior situations with the evidence, but I didn't know they was going to actually arrest me that day. No one was prepared for me to go to jail that day, and I never came back home. That was in 2005. I didn't come back home to 2013.
Mm.
So I had no
So,
time to even prepare myself mentally for that. And that was my first time
so,
ever being in jail. So I had never been to jail.
and that's the even bigger deal. So, how like that's tough, right? To
Right,
not even be emotionally prepared to be away from your family and all your loved ones for that long. So,
right.
what was your thought? Like, I know it had to sink in after a couple of days. So, initially, it's always shock.
Yeah,
Like, shock is like,
yeah.
that's
It
the
took.
best mandatory. Shock is
I
always,
didn't, and I didn't understand like the process appeals. So I'm thinking maybe I'll get back in court, within a few weeks or something. But no, appeals don't work like that. At the time, that's what I was thinking. Like, well, the lawyer said he was gonna recuse himself, and I was gonna be able to file some type of motion for ineffective assistance, and I could get back in court. And the way he explained it, what made me feel like this was gonna happen within 2 or 3 weeks. No, this took years, and I never got back in court. I still ended up losing, but it took 5 years for me to realize that I didn't have a win. So in the beginning, it took a long time for that to process because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know it was gonna take that long. In my mind, I'm going back to court soon. I'm going back to court soon. I'm going back to court
hmm
soon. So I didn't even prepare myself mentally for what was gonna happen.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Y'all know something always happen on my broadcast. So hold on. Okay, y'all. So he ready to come back on here. I'm sorry. He on his laptop. So you already know things already happen. Things always happen when it comes down to my broadcast. So just hold on tight. I'm waiting for him to check back in, and we're gonna continue what we left off at. And also, I appreciate y'all for typing in. For those who always listen to my interviews, I appreciate you a lot. Um, I'm new to this, so we working out the kinks. We will work out the kinks eventually, but um, just hold on. We coming back. I like my hair. I washed my hair last night, and I was like, you know what? I don't feel like putting it up on this show because 2 years ago I was bald headed. I was bald, and I couldn't do this, so I decided to put my hair in a little afro. Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah, I had to get
All
on my
right.
phone because something going on with the internet. Yeah, I'm good. I could just use the
Okay.
phone.
All right. Cool. So we was talking about mentally, being hearing that you ready to go to jail, a prison, and really not even being mentally prepared, for that. So um, putting you in handcuffs, you were saying doing appeals and all this stuff,
Yeah,
and yeah,
yeah. I kind of lost my train of thought, but basically, like I said, it took me a long time, honestly, until I got, and then I was in a county jail where most of the people was, kind of, it was a federal holding jail, but it was still state. So nobody in there really knew how the law worked. It was like people like me who was either waiting on the feds to transport them or just state, people going to state penitentiary. So nobody really knew the process. So I didn't learn the exact process until I got to a federal prison. That's when I started meeting people who had been locked up for, 15 years and 20 years. And they could really break down to me what I was up against. So yeah, like just wanted to reiterate on like I had no idea that process worked like that. I was just thinking, hey, I'm going back to court in a couple of months and we're gonna figure this, we're gonna fix this because this won't right. It's just the way it played out was, so it like my lawyer just was terrible. And and I didn't know any better. That's why I had him. I gave him about $5,000. And when I got in the federal prison, they was like, well, you only gave him $5,000. You should have known he was bad. $5,000
good,
to me was a good lawyer because I'm used to state cases.
right.
Everybody around me was catching state cases. So if you give a lawyer about between 5 and 8,000, you're getting a good lawyer. In federal court, a paid lawyer is gonna cost you about 50,000. A
Mhm.
good paid lawyer is gonna be about
Mhm.
anywhere between 30 and 50.
Right.
So him taking my case for $5,000, people was telling me like basically he ripped you off, man. He took your little money. He knew he ain't had no business in there. And I started meeting like they call them jailhouse lawyers, but some of these guys are just as good as a lawyer on the street because they've been studying law for, 15, 20 years straight.
Mhm.
And that's when I started, learning. oh, it's gonna be a while. And honestly, I don't think I really came to grips with doing time until I was finished fighting. When I finally said, you know what, this over. I'm gonna do this. I think I had about 5 years left, and I was just tired of fighting. I was just tired of the
Mhm.
court system and worrying about appeals and worrying about Supreme Court and all that. I just was tired, and I just said, look, I'm gonna do this 5 years, and I'm gonna go home. And that's when it
Mhm.
finally, became, a easier process for me.
Definitely. So after all these years of fighting, when did you get in the zone where you felt like reading and writing was going to be for you?
I want to say, well, that actually happened when I was in the county jail. I started reading. That's a pastime.
Right.
So I think I was reading a lot of James Patterson books at the time. Like everyone I could get my hand on, I was reading it. One day I was laying down reading, and the guy came in and he threw this book on my bed, and it was called Dutch, and it was like a book with money on the cover and blood covering the money and guns, and I was like, oh, what's this? So he was like, man, you need to read that. You keep reading all this. He called them, crackers and all. You keep reading all them crackers, even though James Patterson write about black people too. But at the time,
Yeah.
dude, that's how dude talked or whatever. He's like, you keep reading
Right.
these crackers, man. You need to read this. Black people wrote this. So I get to
Mhm.
reading the book, and I think it's about New Jersey, but it just made me feel like people who live a life like I live is actually writing books.
Right.
So I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. When I get to I couldn't do it in the county jail because you don't really have the stuff you need is limited. Even paper, like they don't want you collecting too much paper. So I said, once I get to the whatever prison I'm going to, I'm gonna start writing. And I think I started writing the same day. As soon as I was able to go to commissary and buy paper and pens and stuff, I started writing day one. Not actually day one, but week one. At least it was week one. And I had no idea what I was doing. I just started writing.
So how did you like? You told me you published 9 books. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a lot. Okay, with all those pages, that's a lot. So how were you able to stay consistent? I ain't gonna say consistent, but like be able to um sit there and make each page make sense as far as to combine it and to make a book.
Well, for one, it became my escape. 'Cause like I said, I got 9 out, but I think I wrote 7 of them in prison. So
Mm,
out of the 9.5 years I did, I wrote 7 books. That was because, like, probably because my last year I had kind of fell back on writing a little bit. But
mm,
my first 6 or 7 years, I think I just wrote every single day. It was like an escape. Like it just was like a world beyond the walls I was, confined to. You know what I'm saying? It just did something for my mind. If I won't read, I was writing. You know, and I even had started working out a little bit. So just trying to, keep my mind off everything else that, was bothering me, being locked up and the things going on at home. And, just like I said, writing just was a way for me to get away from everything. It kind of made me feel like I was on the streets again, too, a
yeah.
little bit.
So these books, of course, is I'm sure all of them are not fiction. So a majority of the books are they like directly from the things you
Yeah, yeah,
experience?
yeah. Yeah, they all fiction, but they loosely based on my experiences. I
Mm.
just created some characters, and gave them some of the same issues I had going growing up or things I dealt with. So it's fiction, but it's loosely based on things I've been through. Got a little
So
facts to it.
so how were you able to come home and get these things published down, you're the first person that I've ever encountered that have publications, in the penitentiary, come home to have especially this amount of books published. So how was that process?
It took a little while, but the urban industry, it's an industry just like the music industry. They embraced me. Like I met so many people that just took me in and helped me, from a lady named April Thomas. So many different readers. I got a few author friends I can, hit up from time to time and ask questions. So just editors, meeting new editors and trusting them with their opinion and their suggestions. It, it, it's a process, but I was embraced. You know, which was a blessing. When I came in, everybody was just so willing to help, and I took it all in and went from there.
So the time frame. So you have 9 books. So the time frame of each book. How long is the time frame from writing to actually getting published? What would you say?
Well, I wrote all the books in prison. I didn't publish anything. I just was writing books and on paper, pen and paper, chicken scratch handwriting, and I would just, like, once I would felt like I was finished with that book, I put it in a box, take it to the mail room, and mail it home to my mom. So when
Mm.
I got home, my mom just had a closet full of boxes with all these books I wrote in them, and I just started taking each one out one at a time. Like, all right. And then actually, I took one out, and it ended up being 600 pages, which
Oh.
um, one of my author friends told me that was just entirely too much, in terms of trying to market a 600-page book. And he told me
Uh-huh.
break it into two. So I ended up. So actually, I only had 8 novels, but now I got 9, because part one and part two of Real Recognize Real was one book.
Mm.
So when he told me break it down, that's what I did. I gave it back to April, who was helping me at the time, and said, "Look, most of the authors I talked to told me there's too many pages. We need to break it down into 300-page books." And that's what we did. We released part one, and then in like September of 2014, and then I think in like January of 2015, we released part two. They came out real close because all the editing was done. We just had to break it up.
Mm.
So I released them right, like, back to back. But yeah, I was writing. I wrote most of them. I think I only wrote 2 books since I've been home. Actually, published 2 books since I've been home. The rest of
Mm.
that stuff was written in the feds and mailed home. I did have to, type them up when I got home because it was handwritten, so I had to type it up. Then I started meeting people. While I was typing the book up, I was actually meeting. Facebook came in handy a lot because it was just, meeting so many people. Give me a second. Everything died. I'm sorry. Sorry.
It's all right. Shit. My phone fall off the thing. Phone dies.
Oh my gosh, where the charger back there? Oh, I got a dead phone. So yeah, that's basically how that happened. Oh, give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. I actually had to use my
Alright.
car charger. I apologize.
It's all good. It's live, so we good. This is real
Yeah,
time. We ain't no pump faking. This what's going on. So that's cool.
yeah.
So um from from coming home to publishing your book, how have you been able to, like, you say Facebook come in handy, right? But I bought your book from when you was promoting it at a store like on the north, and I bought the book. Well, my baby daddy bought the book from me, but I had the book, so I know you've been outside with it, whatever. So how has the response been from the community as far as the support?
Yeah, I got a lot of love, man. I think people was kind of proud of my decision because I think a lot of people just expected me to come home and kind of do the same thing.
Uh huh.
So, I was well received, and people, especially with people who kind of knew my story already, they was really interested in the book I was about. They wanted to see what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few people that thought it was like some type of tell all, but I was like, no, that's not what this is. I ain't
Yeah.
one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had to really break that down to a couple of people. Like, nah, man, this is because people don't know. I don't know if people still may not know. Urban fiction is an industry. It's a real
Yeah.
industry. There are. I think a lot of people know Nicky Turner. I know a lot of people might know maybe Quan. Like it's a few authors whose name really stand out to people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a real industry. There are a lot of urban writers. So and we write fiction. Just like we write about crime. Only thing we write about black crime in our community.
Right.
So
So how did? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, my bad. I was just saying like a lot of people they didn't know that. So when you say you writing a book, the first thing they think about is, oh, he about to
Mm-hmm.
tell his life story. Or he about to talk about this and that and this and that and worrying about whether I'm gonna incriminate people or not. Like,
Mm-hmm.
nah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what really do be catching people attention, because when you say book, oh, such and such wrote a book, yeah, like that's the first thing, like especially for the people
Yeah,
who already been in the mix, like they like, oh yeah, he ready got damn
he
list,
ready to talk about this and that.
hmm
Even after they wrote the book, they was like, so who is this character? Who is that character? It's the character. It's not nobody.
yeah, like why do we got to be somebody? Like, why you just can't enjoy the book? Like why do we
Yeah,
got to be somebody?
and people was
Yeah,
really still trying to figure out, who I was talking about. I don't go through that no more because I think people understand now what I do.
yeah,
But
yeah,
when that first book, people was really like rallying behind it to try to, some people was supportive. I think some people was just being nosy. But
hmm
it's all part of the
money is
game.
money, right? If you buy the book, you bought the book, so hey.
Yeah,
Whatever way you want to spin it after that, that's up to you. But
yeah.
no question. Um, so I really want to ask, like, okay, so coming home after 10 years, being an author, you got your mindset on what you want to do. How did you adjust though? Like, how did you adjust to the different way of life and still trying to stay on the right path and promote your book and try to be productive, but still deal with the fact that you still got to learn the new way, the new way of the world.
Man, that shit was hard, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. That shit was hard. I feel like I had like a little PTSD. You know what I'm saying? Little small boss with depression. You know what I mean? Because it's like I I felt like I was by my damn self because like didn't nobody understand me. Like people really thought
Mm,
I was like some weirdo. That's because I was so far behind on the way the world was moving now. It just
yeah,
took a long time. People probably still think I'm a weirdo, and I kind of am. So I don't really care about that. But
yeah,
you know what I mean. But I know for a fact I was moving like
a little slow. Just the adjustment process is you. It's hard to explain honestly. And if you ask anybody who did about anything over 7 years in the independence industry, what I mean, they're gonna tell you the same thing. It's just kind of hard to
Mm.
explain.
Yeah. I mean, but you got it done at the same time.
Yeah,
And
I had support. People that supported me, and once I started working, I think that was a big deal because when you work, you develop. I ain't really say friendships, but some type of some type of social life. Even if it's just at work, it still was like. And I think that was my hardest thing. Becoming social and with people with the
but you know,
mindset
if
that I had versus people that was doing what they had been doing. Person never went to jail in their life, they not gonna see things the way you see it.
yeah, but the thing about it nowadays, it's it's hard. It's bad. I ain't gonna say it's bad to say, but like a lot of times nowadays, you gonna run into more people now than back then that they're being incarcerated or they did some time because of the way stuff set up. So I think since the world has changed so much, um, nowadays you can run into somebody at the corner store that then did a bid and you just end up talking to them about something and it's just like, damn, like, oh hi, there's somebody else out here that then, that can feel me. It's more talked about now. I think it's more common now than it was back then.
Yeah,
For people to have conversations with people and have an understanding, I can say that versus back then, you know what I'm saying? So people are more relatable now, I think. And I think that's good and it's bad too, because you never know
yeah.
who's
I was like a statue or something when I first. I just felt like just I was so stoned that sometimes I see old pictures of myself when I first came home. How stoned I was. It just I didn't have
hmm
no expression,
right,
and I guess that just come from learning how to control your emotions while you locked up. A lot of things. I had lost a
right.
lot of friends while I was gone. I couldn't really mourn. I'm way in West Virginia. Don't nobody know my homies. They ain't care. Don't nobody care if my homies died. Like, you gotta, and then, jail calls in West Virginia, I think was about $5 for like 15 minutes. I don't even think it's 15 minutes. I think you get a little less than that.
God.
So, you can't keep calling because that adds up. You call two or three
hmm
times, you don't spend $15. So it was just like a lot of trying to just get it out of my mind, you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to mourn. I didn't want to mourn, around strangers. So I think just trying to control my emotions for so long kind of just made me look like
That's for you.
you know look real stoic when I came home.
Yeah, yeah. They say smile. Wait a minute. I'm not
Yeah,
smiling.
I thought I was smiling. Yeah,
You're right.
I went through that for so long. Like people like, why you look so mean? I
Yeah,
don't know. That's how I look.
yeah, right. Like if I'm doing something
Yeah,
wrong, like what you
yeah.
mean?
I went through that for a long time.
Yeah,
People just saying, you look like you ready to kill somebody. And that's the last thing on my mind. I'm trying to figure this world out.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we
For
got high
people who didn't
speed.
been in this world the whole
Yeah,
time, it's like,
yeah. We got high speed internet now. Like we ain't had that when I left.
nigga, what is that? What do that mean? What you?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, yeah. Like that's a hard pill to swallow. Especially if being an adult. You know what I'm saying? You coming into a world with a whole bunch of other adults that have been out here the whole time. They know how to maneuver. So it's like, how you gonna be in the mix and you really can't be in the mix because then you know what I'm saying. You still got to figure out what the hell the mix is.
yeah,
So for people who ain't never been there, it's hard for them to. Yeah, like I ain't gonna say it's hard, but it's like they don't have that much empathy. Is I'm saying the right word? I don't even know if that's the right
Yeah,
word.
empathy, more like empathy. Yeah,
To the person because they so used to doing with its everyday thing.
like
So to
my
come
brother
out
used to try to take me to the club, and I used to always want to leave because I wasn't used to being around that much noise
right,
and that many
yeah,
people, like in such a small space. And
right,
he didn't understand that for a long time.
yeah.
I had to explain that to him, like, bro, I ain't heard that much noise in my ear in 10 years.
And
And
it's dark in there. You can't
right,
even see everybody. You can't
yeah,
put your
it was,
eye on everybody who in there. So that's even more of a panic
yeah,
feeling because I feel like you in a dark space. It's closed in. You can't see who see you, and you can't see everybody. So you know what I'm saying. To come straight home and to jump into something like that, that is like a whole different mentality. Even me now, like I ain't been to the penitentiary, but I can't. I don't like to go in spaces where I can't see everybody. So, for people who ain't never been there, sometimes they can't really, what I mean, they want you to have a good time, but at the same time, it's like, damn, you know, what are you going through? Because that's a big deal. And for the world to change so much too at the same time, it's like you dealing with this and people trying to make sure you have a good time, but you really can't have a good time because you don't, you don't want to be around these folks. Um, but so back to what I was saying. From you being an author, how did you develop your clothing? Like, I'm gonna mess the word up because we just try to go over the way to say it. We just try to go over the
ascension,
way to say it. So, what's it called
ascension X. It's
ascension?
basically saying ascension unknown. Ascension is like a slow rise. It's a process, like just like life. Anything you try to do in life, is a process. You're not just gonna come from the bottom and jump to the top. It's a
Right.
climb. So that's just another word for climbing, ascend. Like when a
Yeah,
plane
that's
take
right.
off, is ascending until it reached, it's about 10,000 feet, I guess. That's when you ever been on a plane and the pilot say we are now ascending to 10,000 feet. It's basically
Hmm.
the process. Ascend is the root word, and that's when you're there. Ascension is the process, and the X stand for unknown because you know anything we do in life, is levels to it. But I feel like as hard as you go, you just never know how high you can get but you got to just keep going through that process.
And I think it's gonna be like that to the day you die,
Yeah,
because, like you said, it's unknown. So as long as you're in a space where you want to keep growing, you're gonna want to keep growing if you really feel like that. You're gonna want to keep growing until you can't, until it's over with. And who knows when that time is. So, I think that's a dope concept for
yeah,
anybody, especially people who ever went through something, because you all once you go through something that's so like detrimental and kind of like got a bit of taste on your tongue, you want to kind of climb and you want to keep climbing. And I think the people that's gonna climb is gonna be like, I'm gonna keep climbing so I can't climb no more.
yeah.
So yeah, I
And just
really
and
think
just
that's
remember, the process is there. It's gonna be there. All the frustration, all the times you want to quit, all that stuff gonna be there. Um, just got to keep going. No matter about none of that stuff, you just got to keep going and just learn to celebrate. Small wins. I'm learning. That's another thing I'm learning. No matter how small the win is, celebrate
yeah.
because it could have been a loss. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
hmm. No question. And I think but sometimes like I hate to say this, but you you gotta sometimes you gotta go through some things to understand
Yeah, most
how
definitely.
important it is for the small things. Because if you ain't never really been through that, you can't really appreciate the small things.
Right.
Like, you know, I, like, you know, people who ain't like the 10 years that was taken from you or 10 years that you didn't experience. It was a lot of growing up that you ain't get to experience on the street. So when you come home and you learn about the little things, like I don't know. I don't even, I don't even know what's a little thing to me, but the little things that you experience,
Touch screen phones. Shit.
touch screen phones. Hey,
The fact that I
Google.
can, even do a live interview with you on a phone,
Yes,
that's
yes.
crazy.
Like
This compared to,
that's heavy.
how it was before I left. I think flip phones had just came out when I left. I had a Suncom flip phone. And you could take
Yep.
pictures with it, but I think you could send messages, little messages or whatever. But I think that, matter of fact, I think they had the what was that phone? The chirp.
You left in 2005, right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
it was the Nextel church, the
yeah, the next day
Nokia.
chirp.
The Nokia. I think they had just tried. I think they had just came out with the damn the T-Mobile Sidekick around that time, or maybe a
Yeah,
little
all
bit
that stuff.
after that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you left right at the height of when social media and technology had took off. So in them 10 years, it was like it won't know like that
yeah,
shit was like this.
yeah,
Yeah, it was like you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a big deal. Because a lot of people it's sad to say, but a lot of people experience time in prison and they come home and I think it might be overwhelming, so they go right back to what they was doing because that's what they was comfortable with. And they end up being taken back off the street because they don't want to go outside their comfort zone. So people like you who kind of like, I I gotta adjust because I don't want to go back. I kind of gotta make some shake. I think that's really a big deal, and I think a lot of people need to hear that because it can happen, and everything don't happen overnight. So also now a lot of things on social media is getting glorified as where I'm at instead of what I had to do to get there.
yeah.
So
Everybody see the finished
people
product.
exactly, and they don't understand the process. So a lot of people want to jump from start to finish and don't want to do the work in between. So it's a lot of people that came home from a little bit of time. A lot of people that ain't do no time but deal with the system and don't understand that you got to put some type of work in to have something that you're gonna be able to rely on in the future. And I think that's why it was really important for you to come on here to talk about that. From man to man, whoever listening, this not coming from a female, this coming from a man who did the time and out this was nine public, you know what I'm saying? Nine publications, like that's a big deal.
And
That's
between
a
all
real
that, I
big deal.
had my times when, it was tempting. I ain't gonna
Mm,
sit here and act like, I never thought about going back to that lifestyle because it took a long time for me to, deal with struggle. I wasn't used to dealing with struggle. Even when I was locked up, I was hustling.
right.
I figured out a way to, take care of myself. I ate like, every day, like I wouldn't say like a king, but I did pretty well for myself, even when I was locked up. So I didn't have to call home and ask for anything. I figured out a way to hustle. So, that kind of encouraged me when I came home. Like you just got to figure out a way to hustle.
But
And I
also
already
though,
had my mind made up that these books was gonna be the way. You know what I mean? But like I said, in between all that, it was discouraging moments when I felt like, what I'm saying, I gotta go back home and get this money, man. Then maybe put this money in books. The stuff you tell yourself, like maybe I can just go out here and, flip
real
a
quick,
few
yeah.
real quick
I'm
and
a,
then put the money. But
but see, that's the thing, guys. You got to revisit those times, though. I think
yeah,
it's
yeah, you have
important.
to.
It's important for you to revisit those times because once you revisit those times, you're going to revisit the consequences of those times. And once you revisit the consequences of those times, they'll put you back into reality of what you don't want to do again.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
you
good,
gotta
though.
have people in your life that care about you. You know what I'm saying? My mom was getting older. I had already missed a lot of time in my kids' life. I think my oldest daughter was 3 when I left, and my youngest daughter was 8 months. So that was like scary for me to leave them again. Their mom was very encouraging,
Hmm.
keeping me level headed and on the right path. So I think that's important. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't have that. They don't have that right encouragement, you know what I mean, in their life. They don't have the people in their life like, look, we care about you. We don't want to see this, see you go through this again or worse. And my dad used to always tell me, look, man, you done lost all your friends, except for maybe about two or three. But it was a lot of us at one time, and a lot of them are gone. So, and most of them left while I was locked up. So, that was one of the things that, I might not be so lucky next time. Jail is luck compared to death. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
most of, I had my negative moments, but most of me wanted to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of leaned on that. Go ahead, get this little 9 to 5, and I ain't planning on being here for the rest of my life. But for now, this is what it is.
and you got through it though. Like you got through
Yeah,
it, and you got something to show
I'm
for it.
still getting through it. I ain't at the top
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, yeah. But the progress, you
Yeah,
know, that's a
yeah,
big deal. That's a big
right.
deal because, like I said, is people out here that can't that
But
can't find their
we in
way.
a unique age of information. If you're looking to learn how to do something, you can figure it out. You can learn. Like I
Exactly.
designed my own. I didn't pay anybody to design this. I did it myself, and I learned how to do it off YouTube.
You did.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that was,
I did. I learned Photoshop elements on YouTube during the
that's
pandemic. I think
dope.
I watched every. It was this guy on YouTube. I can't think of his name. But he just had so many different projects, and he'll show you the project, then he'll delete it and show you how he did it. And I think I watched between 15, 20 of his videos.
Oh
I watched
wow.
all of them, and I watched some of them more than once.
Yeah.
um, and it just taught me how to do little small designs. I still don't consider myself a designer, but I can do a little something.
You
You
can
know what
do
I
what you
mean?
want to do. If you need to
Yeah,
do it, you can do it. Yeah, yeah. And that's, I mean, like you said, like it's so many avenues. Like if you
yeah.
really want to
So
learn in
I
this
try to tell
way,
people that. I try to tell people, is the information is there. Like when you go on YouTube, what are you looking for? What are you searching for?
right?
You know, everything you want to know, just about, as far as I know, is on there.
It is.
Information is there. You got Google, you got YouTube. You know what I mean? And I don't see the point in trying to sell drugs anymore because I feel
It's
like I can learn all this other stuff now. Like, why would I go back to that when it's just so much information available? Like, I'm learning about credit. I'm learning about small baby steps. I'm trying to learn about stock. I haven't really got into it like I want to, but it's
it's
just so
hard.
much information out there. You know what I mean? That it just makes you wonder, like, why would I even think about throwing rocks at the penitentiary again?
But this my thing, right? When anybody, I've been in the street as well. So with anything, right? You know, you'll gamble on something and not be for sure about it, right? And end up losing your money and it can't get straightened. But a lot of people are scared to gamble that same money on something that they'll take the same chance with, but got a higher chance of getting it straightened or getting it taken care of or seeing a profit from it. And I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people that been in the street are scared of. Like, you know, you rather gamble with losing all this money over here, but don't want to take that chance on something that will help you or further you. You know, like the stock market. You know, you can put $1,000 in the stock market. It can grow, or it can grow one day and it can lose the next day. But if you leave it in there for a couple months, it's a higher chance that you're gonna get a gain, right? But you can go over here and you can put some money out in the street, and that same day you can lose that money. And you know what I'm saying? That's a higher gamble. And I encounter people all the time, and I'm just like, why would you do that? Now that we older, it's like it's not adding up. Like you'll rather lose all this money on something that's not guaranteed because it's what you used to, rather than going over here and trying to figure it out and gambling your money with something that's legit, and you got a higher chance of figuring it out and gaining something. And I think it's just the process
And
of
even if
not wanting to
you
learn.
fail, like your failure is just like losing some money. You ain't gonna lose no time. You ain't going to
Hey,
jail. Like, you know what I
exactly.
mean? You could take like, cause
Hmm.
you're gonna take L's. That's a possibility in anything you do. You know what I mean? I just took
Exactly.
a L like a couple months ago. You know, it broke me. It broke me in half. Like I couldn't believe it. But that's
But
life.
that's a freedom.
I'm still
Yeah,
here. That, you know what I mean? That's all I
exactly.
can keep telling myself. Like, yo, you
Exactly.
still here. Go roll the dice again, man. Just
Or it could have been worse. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
figure it out. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
figure it out and keep going.
yeah.
But I don't know. I can't really explain why other people, do the things they do,
You
or
know,
their logic
it
behind things. But I don't even,
it
really get into that. I just kind of, we grown. I
yeah,
let
we
people make their
grown.
own decisions. I share advice if you ask for it, but you know what I mean? I don't really judge people for their decisions or nothing. But I just my logic is just that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like just to be in that situation where it's life or death every day
yeah,
for the same amount of money where I can be over here and be legit and not have to worry about that.
right. You know, it's just a part of growing up. Sometimes, people age different, people
Yeah,
experience life different, and some losses are bigger than others for some people. Some gains are bigger than others than some people. It's just a part of life. But um, I am super thankful that I got a chance to even kick it with you. This really turned into a conversation more than anything. Like
yeah,
I kind of like put your questions to the back burner because it's kind of like you real recognize real, and um I came up. I used to be around Mosey not too long ago. I was down bad, and thank God I um thank God I didn't encounter as many hardships as others did, and I was able to get up out there and learn from my mistakes. So yeah, like our conversation was kind of like I can relate to you, the things you were saying, and I know other people can as well. It's a lot of people out there that don't have nobody to tell them anything. They kind
right,
of just on their own. I experienced I experienced a young lady today um, that was in the same situation where she ain't had nobody to talk to, and I was just so compelled to just like, just tell her like it's gonna be all right. Everybody grow up out their hardships. Well, not say everybody, but a lot of us grow up out our hardships. Trial and error situations, and it's just a big deal to see a young black man be able to come up out a situation like that and to be able to come out here and to know like I my freedom is everything. Like ain't no need of going backwards because I can find another avenue. Um, a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have
right,
the representation of what I can do if I am down bad.
right,
So that's why I do this. Like I need people, young people, any people to be able to say like, okay, this not it for me. You know, I don't care how old you is. There's people out here that's in their 40s or 50s that just decided to get up and change their life, and they got a better life. So regardless of what age you in, it ain't the end of the road for you. You know what I'm saying? I congratulate you on every obstacle, every hurdle that you overcame, all the experiences that did not deter you from your mission, your goal. Like I said before, to have books, like for you to be there to write books, it's hard for me to even read a magazine, let alone to sit down and to write something. Like even my planner, when I'm planning out my interviews, I'd be like, oh, this book. I can remember it on my own. You know what I'm saying? I haven't even got disciplined enough to sit down and write out things. So I think that's a real big deal.
yeah,
And I really thank you. When I met you in person at Robinette's event, we had our brief conversation, and I was just like, yeah, this got to be something that need to be heard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I appreciate you.
It's real big. So, um, I got two more things I want to say. I want to ask you, what keeps you motivated
Say
to
it
stay
again.
on your path? What keeps you motivated to stay on your path, like to keep going?
My family. You know what I mean? My family. Like that's my biggest motivation. Just what I mean, having them to be proud of me. You know, especially like after leaving them behind the way I did. Being I used to tell myself when I was hustling in the streets that I was doing it for my family, but that was a goddamn lie. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
doing it, for my own, for my ego and my own pride. You know what I'm saying? So now just doing the right thing and, being able to celebrate those small wins and report back to them and like, yeah, it's what I just did, just to have them, to be proud of what I'm doing. That's all I need, honestly, you know. And just small
Yes,
conversations like this also, like, just having small conversations and I still be a little shocked at, you know, how 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 people appreciate, what I've been through and what I'm doing, and how they look at it as such a big thing. And it just make me appreciate it, not take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? What I've accomplished.
that's right. Um, I think I appreciate it a lot because um, I see, like, I witnessed a lot when I was around the projects. I seen, for me, like, I always been like the youngest person out of everybody. Everybody always been like years older than me.
Hmm.
So I appreciate it because I know people that was your age that couldn't fight the temptation. You know what I'm saying? I know people that um had it good and didn't have to, but did it anyway. They
Yeah, me
couldn't
too.
fight the temptation. So I appreciate the fact that I get to talk to somebody that actually went through it and did it and lived through it and still came out to be able to be a living example. So I think that's why it was so intriguing to me because it's like, all right, no, no, no. I knew in my mind it could be done because I know what I've done, but I'm not a male. So for me to see a man actually is a living example of what a lot of people want to do, but can't really, can't really put themselves in a position to do. I think that was really like, okay,
Yeah,
I know I won't trip it type thing that I'm thinking. So, I think it is a real big deal, and it should be overwhelming because you did a lot.
yeah,
You did a lot. So overwhelming is good.
yeah,
Overwhelming is good.
yeah. I definitely take it all in. And just
Yeah.
try to stay humble. That's my
So
main goal.
question.
To just be humble, man, and appreciate everything, even the losses, man. I'm learning to just appreciate it because you know what to do next time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You take something
And a
out of
lot
it
of
every
times,
time.
those losses just show you what you made of. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
How you can
And who
figure it
who you
out
can really depend on.
without anybody giving you anything. You just figure it out yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. And
Because
that's
when
one
you
of the greatest
determine to get
lessons is.
something done, you know what I mean, it's gonna happen with or without anybody's help. Whether you ask for help
Hmm.
or you don't, or if
Hmm.
somebody decide to help you or not, when you determine to get something done, you're gonna get it done.
That's it. When your mind is on it, it's on it. And to be wanted and not needed, that's when you know you it. That's when you know when you got people that you want around you. That's what I was telling the young lady today. I was telling her like she was saying that I got my sister now, so I don't have to. I was like, listen, when you don't have to need your sister, when you know that the only time you the only time that she's around is because you want her, that's when you know you got the key. You don't you want to always be in a position where you don't need people. You want them around you. And when you able to figure out life without having to need to lean on people, that's when you know that you didn't accomplish some shit. So Um, you know, it's just it's refreshing for me to
Yeah.
be able to talk to you and for you to be able to spill these jewels and I would drop these jewels for these people that really need to be like, oh, you know, it ain't over for me. I can still do it. Um, whatever point in life that they're at, I think that they're going to receive this as they need to receive it. Um, but one more thing. Where can people find you in your clothes? People that want to support you, people that want to get your books. How can they reach you?
I got a website, ssproductions.bigcartel.com. I'm always on Instagram, Facebook. You can easily just DM me if you rather go that route. I accept every form of payment you can think of, so that's not an issue. Yeah, most of the people that reach out to me just reach out to me on social media, and I figure we figure it out from there.
Okay.
I like to send people to my website so they can see the options, and a lot of people, might not want to use PayPal, or they might not want to use the other Stripe, whatever that other payment option is. Some of them don't like to use it, but I don't want that to deter anybody. It's, I'm an open book. You can always inbox me and hit me up and say, "Yo, I'm interested in this or I'm interested in that," and we'll figure out how to get it to you. So I'm working on better payment options. It's a process. You know what I mean? But yeah, just again, it's ssproductions.bigcartel.com. That's the website. And again, I'm Shawn Starling on Facebook, on Instagram. I am Shawn Starling. Like I said, you can always hit me up.
Okay, so for the people who want to buy some merch, what do you have available right now?
Um, just go look at the website. There's a lot of stuff. I got a
Okay,
lot of
they
stuff.
got all types
Yeah,
of stuff. Okay, so
I got
if people wanna like get it now, is that option available as far as like first, same day pickup or what?
if it's on hand, same day pickup is definitely available. If it's not on hand,
Okay,
then the website is available. Most of the time, it's taking anywhere between 7 to 10 days to be delivered.
okay,
But I try to keep a lot of stuff on hand, but I don't have a lot of storage space, so that becomes a headache. But just trying to have the right color, the right size for the right person. And
right.
you'll be all over the place trying to figure that out.
Hmm.
But again, it's ssproductions.bigcartel.com. Go on the website, look at all the stuff that's available to you. The books are on there also. And if you see something you like and you have any questions, just hit me up on Instagram. I am Shawn Starling, or hit me up on Facebook, Shawn Starling.
Awesome. So, do you have any questions for me?
Nah, man, I just appreciate you having me on here. That's about it. I
Okay.
definitely appreciate you, allowing me to be heard.
Mhm. I mean, like I said before, um, I told you at Robin S event, like I'm just getting started with this, and I feel like I always wanted when I was down bad. I never had nobody to kind of like tell me anything. So I feel like for the people who want to do something with themselves and can't really go directly to the people that they do see winning and get advice, because some people are hesitant. You know how people do. Like they don't want to really tell you how to get things done. I feel like this is the outlet for people to come on here and click on an interview. If they don't know how to get started with a business or they don't know how to go fill out no paperwork or if they just need some motivation. I feel like this where this what I can get them. Out of
Yeah,
all the
man.
things that I done, I feel like this is what I can do to give back to the youth or the people who um, don't have nobody in their corner. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them out here, and also it's a way for me to learn. Like I'm not. I never been like a real people person or whatever. So for me to just have these conversations and for you guys to trust me enough to talk to me and tell me your business and give me your time, that mean a lot to me. And I know it's gonna be it does mean a lot to the public because a lot of people inbox me all the time and tell me about, I just love this person interview. I love that person interview. So I know that it hit the people it need to hit. So
Right.
um, I I greatly appreciate you. I greatly appreciate the conversation we had. It was super dope. I forgot we was on camera a couple of times.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I
That's
forgot we was talking.
Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I had to reel myself back in real quick. So that's awesome. People know it's genuine. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm here to offer. But nevertheless, like I told you before, this is we live right now on Facebook, as you know. We also live on YouTube. So when we done with this, I'll send you the link to your YouTube interview, and you'll be able to do what you want to do with it. You can share it as you please. You can keep it um, for your own personal whatever. But nevertheless, it's there. So I want to thank you again. Is there anything else you want to say? You want to reiterate your social media outlets or anything?
Just I'm Shawn Starling, man. I'm easy to find, man. I'm
Yeah,
easy to find.
I mean, yeah, yeah. It's clear as day. Um, but yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. Good luck on all your business endeavors, all
Likewise.
your books, everything you got going on. I wish you the best. I know I tell everybody I'm gonna see you in the room real soon. You know what I'm saying? We all gonna be in that big room real soon together. So it's not your uh first or last time seeing me. You know what I'm saying? So
That's a fact.
that's a big fact. So again, thank you. Congratulations. Shout out to your fiance, your family for holding you down, everybody who supported you through your bid, everybody who's your inspiration now. Hopefully, this can be inspiration to other people. If that's the case, we did what we supposed to do. And for the day, it's a wrap.
Right.
So it is what it
Appreciate you,
is.
man.
Thank you. Have a good night. I
You too.
appreciate you.
All right.